Greetings, denizens of the digital world. It is I, the serial killer, coming to you today on day 86 of the year of blogging dangerously. And today, by request, I am going to go into waters that potentially could be a bit more, well, risque, dangerous, perhaps. We'll see. This one is by request, as I said. The request comes from the Codfather himself, from the Codfather of the Newfoundland rap scene, from Mr. Jenkins himself, not Leroy Jenkins, but those of you who know me locally know Mr. Jenkins. Anyway, Mr. Jenkins asks me to talk about Scientology. Now, this is one of my favorite subjects to rant and rave about. I'm a conspiracy nut when it comes to Scientology, and I'll tell you why. Scientology was, by its very foundation, it was a gag at first. It was a larf, a bet, a joke, and it became something insidious and bloody well evil. Now, I'm going to quantify this by saying, I'm going to put a disclaimer out here. I am no first-hand expert on Scientology. I am, as I said, a conspiracy nut. This is me rambling like a loon from second or third-hand information, but at the same time it's so compelling and so overwhelming, and there's some visuals that I will show you over the course of perhaps an ongoing series about Scientology that it's a conspiracy that rings true. It's one of those ones that you can see if you just pay attention. Scientology is the brainchild of L. Ron Hubbard. L. Ron Hubbard was, in his early years, a failed Navy man who eventually made himself an admiral. The admiral of his own crappy little fleet of mainly yachts and a cruise ship and some crap. He was a hack writer by many accounts. I've never read anything of his. Perhaps I will review something of his or read it for Suggestive Sunday. Perhaps. Maybe that will be Unsuggestive Sunday. But he was an author, a science fiction writer. In the era of Asimov and Bradbury and all of them, all of those giants, he was the not-so-giant. He was low-rent at best. He's the one who wrote the script for what became Battlefield Earth. He wrote the novel for what became the script for what became the crappiest movie of all time, perhaps, Battlefield Earth. I'm going to have to review that for Movie May now, aren't I? Anyway, he was a crappy writer who decided one day to put together his personal philosophies, because he was also an egomaniac who thought he knew everything about everything, who decided to put his personal philosophies together in Dianetics. Dianetics was a medical text on how to enhance your life. And, well, Dianetics didn't take off. It went into the crapper at first. It was not paid attention to, and it was laughed at. Until the bet came along, and the bet was, if you believe the anecdotal evidence, if you believe the rumor, the myth, the bet was between Asimov, L. Ron Hubbard, or LRH, as he's referred to in the cult of Scientology. I'm sorry, the Church of Scientology, as they would like to be called. LRH and Asimov and a few others were at a convention, and they had, as some tellings tell it, there were some drinks being tossed around, and a bet came about. That the bet was the one who could create the religion that obtained the most followers, the cult, the what have you, that could obtain the most followers, would win this bet. And it was for something like $100 or something. I don't know. Or maybe it was just for bragging rights. And from this, Asimov created a cult whereby people would worship technology, not amazing amounts of not technology like robots or artificial intelligence or anything, but no, toasters and appliances and such. As I often joke, the shiny toaster god. LRH, he created Scientology based on his teachings of Dianetics and this science fiction space opera background that you just it makes some of the craziest things from other religions seem like your next door neighbor Bob. You know, plausible. Yes, your next door neighbor Bob is only plausible, apparently, but he made them seem, even the most metaphorical elements, the allegories that have spawned angels and demons and devas and prophecies and whatnot. He made all of them seem normal because he created Xenu. And Xenu was an intergalactic warlord who saw ownership and leadership of a massive empire of planets. And this was, mind you, trillions of years ago he did this. He was overseeing this massive amount of planets, and he was a right prick. He basically gathered together a bunch of his people, and he brought them to Earth, and with the help of evil psychologists, he brainwashed them using theaters to, I don't know what end, I guess, control them, and then he put them in a volcano, and he dropped hydrogen bombs on it, and he killed them all. And it just so happened to be, this was on Earth that this happened. It was on Earth that he did this. And the spirits of these people, Thetans, escaped them. And apparently it was a great evil. It was the evil spirits of these people. So apparently, you know, the evil Xenu unleashed the evil spirits of his innocent people. I'm thinking they're just tortured. But anyway, these Thetans go out and they implant themselves in primitive beings that became humans. Now everyone has a Thetan in them. And the Thetan is a bad thing. And, you know, he created this whole mythology, but then wrapped around it a very mundane kind of belief, a belief in doing good for people and charity and everything. And this is the public face of Scientology, the face that they would have you believe is the only face. The do well unto others, the charitable, you know, cleaning up people from drugs side of Scientology. Anyway, so obviously Asimov took it as a joke, LRH took it seriously, and thus we have Scientology. And it's insidious. I'll tell you why it's insidious. Scientology is insidious because, well, I consider it insidious at least because there are very, very nasty things that have come of it. People have died because of this church as a direct result of the actions of people in this church. But you barely ever hear about it. The Catholic Church has a lot of negativity that is brought up against it. A lot of bad behavior on the behalf of priests is broadcast to the world. And yet Scientology straight up kills people. And you barely hear a ripple. Now, why is this? Well, it's simple. It's because Scientology has better goons on their side. They have better people protecting them. When your goons are better than the Catholic Church is, and the Catholic Church way back in the day perfected the art of goonery, and I'm not saying anything ill necessarily about the Catholic Church, I'm just saying back in the medieval times, that going back to the medieval times, the Catholic Church had goonery down pat. If your goons are better than the Catholic Church's, you're an insidious, twisted little bastard of a thing. At least that's my opinion. Now, there may be more about this, there may be not, but this is possibly the first installment of Say What, Scientology? Or something of the like. And I have been the Serial Killer. At the 9-minute mark, I'm going to stop rambling. But questions, comments, concerns, death threats, put them in the comment section below. And I actually expect a death threat or two, knowing the history of Scientology. But that's just me. I'm a conspiracy nut, and I'll see you tomorrow.